Hi, it's Tracy. Welcome to my home here in Sussex, England, where spring is springing. So the decorating is beginning. This episode, we're in the kitchen. And I've got loads of decorating ideas for you. I'm going to lean into green, have pops of colour. I'm going to mix old and new. There'll be thrifted finds, faux and foraged, and free finds. You're gotta love a freebie. Now, here are my furry supervisors, Bertie and Bear. Are we ready, boys? Let's get started. Last summer, I popped 3 hooks into the ceiling. 3 hooks in the ceiling, and I was as happy as Larry. It gave me so many opportunities. This was my hula hoop chandelier for the autumn decorating. And then Christmas, I went with 3 light shades that looked like bells. Now, I'm looking for inspiration, and I spy my wonderful cherry blossom tree. Oh, it's just so beautiful at this time of year. I don't think the furry supervisors are quite taking this so seriously, though. Anyway, the big ladders are out, along with the loppers, and I'm just going to snip off discreetly a few branches. Let's get those into the kitchen and see what we can do with them. Now, in my excitement, I forgot to open both doors. Once I get an idea in my head, that's it. I'm away with it. Fortunately, I did manage to get the branches in without knocking any of the blossoms off. Now, my idea was maybe to just hang them from the ceiling, but what to use? I've got some old washing line and also some really strong clear fishing wire. In the end, I decided to go with the old washing line as I like the rustic effect of it, and it was also going to tie in with some other materials that I plan on using. Now, I just used the 2 branches up top, so didn't obviously want to waste the 3rd one. So I took some of my covered wire. This is florist wire that I use all the time, and I used it just to connect smaller lengths on, creating a little bit more fullness. Now, if you don't happen to have real cherry blossom, you could actually just take a branch, hang it, and then glue faux blossom on. I've done that before. I've done it on the front as well, outside on the front porch, and it really is a lovely effect. But I am fortunate enough to have this amazing tree, so why not utilise it? And to stop shedding over the table, a jolly good dose of hairspray. Tablescape time. Oh, I love a kitchen tablescape. But the first thing I do before I start anything is pull all the chairs back. It just makes moving around the table so much easier. The boys are ready to supervise, so let's get started. I've got some muslin here. I dyed it green. It was actually a huge amount of white that I used for my daughter's wedding. I've split this into 2 as I want to create a tablecloth. Normally I would use this just as a long runner, but the actual width is just not wide enough to dress a table completely. And for this design, I actually want to have a whole tablecloth. I have got other ones that I could dye, but I don't particularly want to change the colour of them. So this is my cunning plan, but what to do with that bulky section in the middle? Well, we're going to cover it up with a scaffold board, as you do. And to find the centre point, I'd already pre-marked exactly where it is. And of course, being the OCD that I am, I have to measure it to make sure it is completely in that central position. Now, what to put on the board? Last autumn, my husband brought home a box of something for me. Brings me the best presents. So these were about to be thrown out of his office, and he couldn't bear that. So he thought, I wonder if Tracy could do something with these. Now, they did look a bit naff, the pots, and of course the colours weren't right for autumn and Christmas. They were actually just cheap things from IKEA. So the challenge was on, and he keeps asking me why I haven't used them yet. Well, the colours weren't right, but they are right for spring and going into summer. That plastic is horrible, and I thought actually super cheap way of disguising it is using Hessian. I've ordered some more Hessian as well from Amazon as I'm getting down to my last bits. Now I cut squares, frayed the edges, and because the pots are really quite deep, I found that I could tuck all the Hessian right the way down, meaning I didn't have to tie it up in any way. It went so far down that it stayed into position. So this is a great way you could do this with any material. Saves the expenditure of having to buy a pot to hide an ugly pot. Brass candlesticks. Oh, I love a brass candlestick. I find them all over the place at auction, antique fairs, charity shops. In fact, if you saw the last episode that I did, which was a shop and haul down in Cornwall, I bought another couple then. Lots of items that I found in that haul are going to be making an appearance in this episode. Hessian green ribbon, found on Amazon a few years ago. They still sell it, so I'll link it below, as I will with anything else that I could possibly link for you. Now, as we've got candlesticks, we are going to need candles, another Amazon find. These are just such a lovely green, and when I've got the candles out, I've got the museum wax out, because you really don't want a wobbly one, and museum wax is great, just popping a little dollop on the end, in you go, nice and steady. Gotta love the museum wax. Placemats next. Last summer I did a colour wash on one side of these. I found that some sides were looking a really bit worse for wear. So did the colour wash and it gave me a 2-in-1 placemat. On top of the placemats, I am going to go with my vintage burlyware. This is in the Davenport design of embossed strawberries and grapes, and it's all white ironstone. And I got all of this from auction for £35. I got 196 pieces. Happy days. Comes to cutlery, I always bring it to the table in a tablecloth so I can give it a quick final polish to take off any finger marks. I want to bring a little bit of that pink down onto the table, and the easiest way to do that is with napkins. Now, these napkins started life like this. I decided at Christmas I was going to try and dye them red. I also wanted to dye a red runner for the table, so I used some more muslin and I threw in a few of the old cushion covers. I followed the instructions. I do this all the time, so it's not my first rodeo. Did they come out red? No, they came out a very strange pink. The cushions came out a purpley pink, so maybe I could use those in the summer. And the napkins came out a very pale pink. Well, of course, that is going to be perfect for this table. Waste not, want not. Our next pop of pink is courtesy of Glassware. Now, these were found in a charity shop on my shop and haul video, the last episode that I did, and they actually turned out to be vintage Libby Premier. These are just beautiful, and I got 12 of them for just £13. Check out that video for more details. Now I'm going to bring out some more glassware, and again this was from the last episode. Now this is vintage, hand blown. I got 8 glasses for just £10. There's a really good backstory to these, so do watch that other video if you've not seen it yet. Going to move over to the corner now and to Big Mo, my big white dresser. But before we start placing things on there, I'm going to take you over to my local auctions. We're going to have a little mooch around and see if we can see anything interesting. These boxes of blue ironstone caught my eye. Now, some weeks these will go for tens, £30. Other times they'll go for hundreds of pounds. You just never know. It just depends on who is bidding. I never stay for the actual auction. I leave commission bids, so I give authority to the auctioneer to bid on my behalf up to a certain amount. And that amount is what I feel comfortable paying. And I always think if I don't get the lot, it's because it went too high for me. If I was in the auction room, I would be tempted. And my little hand with my little paddle would be going up and down and up and down. So to keep myself solvent, I just always do commission bids. It's not always vintage and antique pieces that you find at these auctions. Quite often you'll find things like this where they're new products, look as though they've come from a business, they're still in their packaging. Interesting little lot. There were quite a few lots of glassware. They tend to just bunch everything up and you get 4 or 5 boxes of them. I've just scored really well on glassware though in my last episode. The auction is over, collection time, and I got 1 lot. Can you guess? It was all the new pots. So I got those loaded in the car, and then my eye went over to the bins, to Womble Corner. This is where you can just go and help yourself. So anything that they're throwing out, or sometimes people just have things in a lot and think, I don't actually want that, or it's broken, it's damaged. They just pop them there. But let's go back to the lot that I actually won. I got these for £50. Hammer came down at 50. Now, if these were being sold at £5 each, there were some labels on, where somebody had obviously been trying to offload them. There would be well over £200 worth here. Why did I buy them? I don't know, actually. I do. No, I do know. I do. Because I'm going to do things with them. Some I will possibly use outside through the summer. I was thinking initially I would bring this green into the kitchen, but I've had a little change of heart. Anyway, let's go back to Womble Corner, to my freebies. I picked up the rocking chair finally managed to get it wedged into the car. There's only one little bit of damage on it. As that's on the side, it's no biggie. And I picked up the lamp. Now, when I was in the auction, I actually saw that in a big box of other things. So somebody obviously did not want the lamp. I quite like it. And do you know what? It works. It works. So that is getting a little bit of a makeover, but not a huge one. I actually really love the colours. I love the pattern, a jolly good clean, and then we need to do something with the flex. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know exactly what's coming up. I'm going to wrap the flex, and I'm going to use the same old washing line that I used to hang up the cherry blossom. All it needs now is a new light bulb, and I found this LED vintage style on Amazon, so I'll link that one below. Time to start decorating, and first up are the vintage planes that I found in a charity shop. You'll have seen these in several episodes. Along with vintage green books, I have a huge stock of vintage books. The bell, that was another find from last episode, Shop and Haul down in Cornwall, as was this vintage flask box. Now into that, I'm going to add some faux stems that I picked up when I was going through all the after Christmas sale decor. These were marked down to just 79 pence, which seemed a bit bizarre to me because you can use them all year round. These are shoe lasts, which I picked up on my Tenterden shop and haul. Now that was a really good haul. Check that one out. Now in this corner, we're going to put something new. I found these in Home Bargains, 19.99. Yucca. It's nearly 4 feet tall, and for just under £20, I just thought it looked great. It like really good quality. You can find these on Amazon, but at the moment they are out of stock. So I will, when they do come back into stock, I'll put a link in. But I just thought they were so realistic. And good quality faux is really hard to find in the UK without spending an absolute fortune. Now, obviously, the pot was pants, because they always are. So I thought, ooh, my new Hessian that I got off Amazon. I could use that. So I cut out a square. And then I did the same thing again. I frayed all the edges. And because this wasn't so deep, set so deeply within the pot, I just took a piece of coir string that I use quite a lot of and used that to tie all the Hessian up. And again, you could use any fabric that coordinates with your decor. Again, it's a super cheap, quick way rather than having to pay for another pot. Faux artichokes. I absolutely love these. Amazon find. I used them last year and I love them so much. I got some more this year. They're so realistic and such good quality. Now, these are more green candles. These are a different design. They're the bulsiest ones, and I have them in lots of different colours. I'm adding a simple cream jug. It was, again, a charity shop find. And now we want to go outside and find something to put in. Now, last autumn, I planted some more daffodil bulbs. I do it each year. I just keep on adding and adding to the collection. And I plant them in the field for several reasons. Firstly, because I want to enjoy them in the field. Secondly, because I want to cut them for the house. And thirdly, because the deer don't eat them. Now, in this spot, I think we are going to put our freebie. We're going to move across to the other side of the kitchen now to my great big old pine dresser. And up here on the top, I have hops, which have dried back. And I've also got some faux candles, and I would like to add some more faux candles. These are amazing. I have used these through all the Christmas decorating, all the autumn decorating. They last so well. And now I want to just add a few more. This is my late Victorian, very heavy, Stoneware water filter. It was found on the last episode, the shop and haul in Cornwall. I paid £50 for it and I styled it very much as a vessel, a vase. This time, I think I'll do something a little bit different with it. This is the only thing I own from Hobby Lobby. Obviously, being English, I can't wander down to the store and go and shop there. I've got a few of these, so I think I'm going to bring them out for the spring kitchen. Little change of heart here. I like to work with height, so I'm switching these two around. Now, what to put in the middle? I've been down to my storage shed and I have pulled out my old candelabras. These have seen better days. They have been so many different colours over the years. They were originally silver and glass. I've had these down by the stream at our little deck area through the summer. And these two I did makeovers on. I did a very bright green, a capability green from Annie Sloan, and then I dark wax them. I use them at Christmas. You can see little bits of the red wax left there. Well, I'm going to give them a makeover. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of all that old wax. Once I have picked off as much as I can pick off, I've got an old knife that I use specifically for this task. I want to melt away the rest of the wax and I don't want it going into my drains. So I find the easiest way is hot water and a big bucket. Look at all that wax that would have been down my drains. I'm going to use two different size brushes and the paint choice is olive. Olive by Annie Sloan. Love this colour. I've used it on lots of pieces and I'm going to continue using it because I love the colour so much. After 2 coats had thoroughly dried, I then went on with the wax. So I'm going to use 2 waxes, clear and dark. When you go straight on with dark, you have less controllability, if you like. If you coat a piece with the clear first, you can then apply your dark and use the clear almost as an eraser, if you like. You can make it darker, you can make it lighter. So if you're ever working on a tricky little piece or you're a little bit unsure, use the clear first. Going to do a little bit of decorating in front of the shutters here. I'm going to dress the chair and then also I want to do something in this corner. I've pulled out a throw that had been downgraded to outside use and unusually it's now been upgraded back into inside use. It was actually green underneath and it's been bleached by the sun, but the colour works. This is an old curtain that I turned into a cushion. You'll have seen that out on my veranda styling. And this Torchiere is going to be the next makeover. This has been so many colours over the years. It was even silver at one stage. I know. I was probably wearing platform boots at the time. And I mean the first time they were in fashion. This time I'm going to dark wax it. I've already had this tin sat on top of my range, so the wax is really warm and loose and very easy to apply. I'm starting upside down because I find that way you miss very little. It just gives a much more professional finish. It makes sure that you cover everything. I left it to dry overnight and then just gave it a slight buff with a soft cloth. If you want it really shiny, a nice glow to it, then really work hard with that cloth. It's another faux yucca. Now, you may be wondering, why on earth is she bringing in faux plants? Why don't you just get real? Because I kill them. I do not possess interior green thumbs. Now, I'm loving the height of this. I'm only just over 5 foot, so this really gives a tall statement in this corner. Let's move over to the two islands now, and we'll start with the sink island. I'm bringing in a basket tray here because I love the colour. I love the natural texture. It works with the Hessian. It works with the twine that I've used to hold up the cherry blossom, and also with the hops. Now the bowl I'm going to put into the basket tray on an angle. You don't have to have bowls flat. I just love the pattern inside, so I want to be able to see it without having to stand over it to look at it. Life on the wild side. People often ask me what this black disc is. Well, it's my pop-up socket. I have this antique butter press, and so I always pop it on along with the tea towel. You know, the decorative tea towel that nobody must use. Now, the big wooden island is next, and this wooden bowl was such a great find. It was actually from an interior design shop, and I got it for just £38. They were switching premises, so they were selling off quite a lot of their stock at rock bottom prices. Amazing. I'm going to fill it with these wonderful faux artichokes along with some real green apples. Well, I did say I was going to lean into green. Countertop styling next, and we're going to start off in this corner. Another of the Hobby Lobby garlands is coming out. This links across to the other side of the room. I do like to repeat materials. I like to repeat textures, get lots of layers in there, and it really helps pull a scheme together. A final vase of daffodils are coming in, and yes, there are still plenty left in the field for more decorating. The scent is incredible. Ah, the perfume, just beautiful. The wooden tray I'm using here actually came from a charity shop find, an old hostess trolley that I picked up for £15. This vase, again, was in the shop and haul from Cornwall. I did really well on that one. But what to put in it? Now, I did show you this trick last episode, but in case you didn't watch it, here we go. So this is a Christmas garland. I bought lots of these. I keep calling them cypress, and they're not, the cedar garlands, off Amazon. And I thought, well, you know, they really are investment pieces, and it is such a shame to just put them away for the rest of the year and then bring them out again next Christmas. So I am using them all year round. What I'm doing is winding them round and round themselves, because the vine, if you like, is really quite pliable. It's very easy to manipulate, to move around. Once I get round to the very end, if I can keep hold of this because it seems to be a live one, I then just tuck the very last piece back in on itself and then flip it over and watch the magic happen. On the other side of the range, I'm going to pretty much mirror what I've just done in that corner, but I always like to put a little bit of a twist in. So things don't necessarily identically mirror. They are related, shall we say. Siblings, not twins. Now to this corner, and I'm excited about this one because I am going to use my £5 bag that I found, yes, you've guessed it, in Cornwall. But what to put in it? Yes, it's yucca. Okay, I might have a little bit of a confession that I might have actually bought quite a few of these. Really quite a few. So expect to see lots of faux yuccas. There's lots of decorating coming up, lots of spaces to be decorated. So lots of homes for lots of yuccas. Time to congratulate the boys on yet again another sterling performance on being the furry supervisors. And they did ask me to remind you, please do tune in again next time. If you like what we do, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you're watching this in the first 7 days, then please do hit that hype button. We've really enjoyed your company. And until we meet again, we wish you the best of health. Have a wonderful, peaceful time. And happy decorating. Remember, if it makes you smile, then it is right for you.